I think she still have a problem. She dropped out. I think she will rejoin.
Let her in when she comes back.
jetzt habe ich es können.
I think she can hear you now.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 10th session of the Mozhan program that we are sharing here on Monday evening. I hope you're all doing very well and you are able to enjoy the summer if you are in the summer season or any season that you are actually having, and that you can remain in peace. It's been quite a while since our last session, and I would like you to bring myself and everyone back on track in case you might have lost the vision or the track itself, or maybe also the orientation of where we are actually right now in the totality altogether. I would like to go back as we actually completed the first cycle. We had 9 sessions already. So now number 10 now is symbolizing a new cycle. And so therefore, I would like to show you where we are in the game today and the next couple of sessions. So in the beginning, we started with basically being on a ship over here. No, that's a bit too far on the left. So it was on the very left side where we started with the ship and we dropped into the water. Then we made it to the land. We found the beach that turned into a desert. From there we were rising up to reclaim the cloud condition that was mentioned in so many ways from and by Mr. Kesh. And so for today, or actually in the last session in the number 9, the change was symbolized by being again becoming like a water drop and falling towards the planet. So in today's session, we basically landed in the forest. So this area here, maybe from here to here on the map, will be the forest area. So here we have like the sand. Here we have the forest, and here we have the ocean. Can you hear the sound? Can you hear that?
No.
Okay.
Yes, no.
As we came from the cloud as a collective, now it seems like we're separated into many droplets. So every one of us was literally falling into a leaf, onto a stem, maybe straight to the soil. And now, tonight I would like you to start to integrate
Andreas, sorry. When you speak now, we have a little bit of noise with your voice. Maybe you need to disable the sound of the trees, you know?
Okay. So I hope the sound is better right now.
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
Okay, we will just return again to that situation where I would like you to basically reflect on what it means for you to be or actually feel a forest. So what you already heard is the wind that blows through the leaves and through the woods. What does it make you feel when you are in the environment of the forest? Maybe it's just the first impression, but the sound is very close to the sound of the ocean. It is what is called white noise. That what literally can bring you either into a state of total excitement in ways of irritation, or if you can let it happen to merge with your ears and with your consciousness, to become one with the trees that is always touched by the wind no matter what. You can get a feeling of how it might be to be a tree. So today's topic will be under the term of regeneration. We will dig into this topic from the Mozhan perspective, standpoint of view. And so this is like a repetition of what we have been through in the beginning. So we will do it again in a different way, in a different approach, in a different mindset. If you remember well, in the beginning, we basically were thrown off the ship as a human, and so we basically everything that is shown here in yellow is the human way that we have experienced. And so now this time we are dropping as a water droplet, and this bubbly shape is condemned or damned to disperse, to basically split into pieces, depending on the landing that you or we are facing, depending on the surface or the speed or whatever might happen to you. But it's quite not likely that you remain the same. So I want you to put that into your state of being, to see what it would mean to you if you would just go with the flow and become one with the forest. Now let's go a bit more into the deep of the green color. I want you to see or to feel like you would be a tree. So we have here the ground level. And here you have your hands. Oh, you can't see that yet. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so we have the ground or the soil. Now we put a seed or you as a droplet into the soil. You're halfway in there and half is still on the surface. And now somehow out of this, it looks very much like an entity. If we put the human picture into that soil, it could become a tree very much and very fast. If you allow yourself to see that everything on the top is just half of the truth, because there is another half below the soil. So now what do the trees do? They literally drink with their feet. So they pull you or the droplet out of the soil, and then you get sucked into the stream of upwards or upflow until with the sun together, the outside, we call it outside for the moment, this water gets cooked or at least heated up, and it starts to vaporize the water again. So basically the water circulation or is like this. The trees pull the water out of the soil, even every plant, and in this process of vaporizing and using this cycle for different creation, as the tree itself makes him more like a power plant, and we usually don't see that. So when you see what usually can't be seen, when we are dropping up here, we meet ourselves just right next to. We have friends or entities alike here in the soil. We have it in the stem, passing maybe up, maybe sometimes down. And so this flow state, it doesn't really end after we hit the soil. So transformation is all around us, and if we are patient enough to see, maybe it's in a different speed level or time frame where things are about to happen, we can recognize what is possible or what is actually displayed as possibility. So too much light water or vapor rises up into a cloud, and then it usually goes around until it hits, as they say, a bigger mountain where they are forced to combine themselves to actually become again attracted because of the gravity of the soil, and therefore when there is too much heaviness or too much gravity, they will literally fall into itself and going back to the cycle. Have you ever asked yourself if a forest or a tree has a limited time, or can it grow and live infinitely? So now what does it mean to us? Or if we take now the human shape, and what does it mean if we are able to rebuild what we have built or what we are? You might have come across many facts or ideas that we are rebuilding ourselves anyways, and yet maybe there's a way how you can get more aligned with what you would like to achieve, or how you could command yourself as in the flesh or in this incarnation. So literally it means to replicate the same again. From this water droplet into the tree or into the human, and then going back into the collective state, or which is so flexible that it is able to translucent into the field. So when you see you have the potentiality of the cloud, and then you have the potentiality of the soil. Here we have like a transitioning state of becoming or changing shape or density. So when we have the plasmatic fields in the invisible, it is always around us like the wind in the forest. I use just one color now, but there might be many different of those depending on what you're focusing on. So now the integration of the field, we do this with oxygen. That which is invisible to our physical eyes. But oxygen just means it is in the plasmatic level. So from the GANs manufacturing and the experiments, you actually can recreate this, what is here in purple, in a condensed version, in a more, let's say, gathered of the same, like an essence. So through the inhalation, we are literally putting everything inside, everything that is not seen. We bring it into the soil and we let it grow. And yet, as we have the soul either here, maybe here, maybe everywhere, if we put the hydrogen from the atmosphere with the oxygen together, we get this, what we are talking about. So now when you imagine yourselves doing sports, when you have exercising, maybe football, maybe running, cycling, swimming, whatever, it might happen to you that you start to sweat. So when you sweat, you create this here. And it even might have some salt in it, so something that got together all along the way. So can you see now that you and the tree are not so much different? There is that famous saying of manifesting heaven on earth, and maybe we are constantly doing exactly that. So when the tree is making oxygen from CO2 and sugar of the light along the way, how deep do you understand yourselves in what you are creating at every single moment? Maybe you are already giving back all the time when you are consuming, like instant. You're taking in and you're giving out at the same speed. So now, why it is so important to understand yourself as one, as we have session number 10, it means one is going through the zero, or we can put it like this: the zero is contained in the nothing or in the everything. So if number one is the soul inside of your bubble, and this human entity here is that one, and everything around you is basically in that bubble, then this whole transformation happens within you, depending on how you look at it, at the situation. Speaking in figures, basically it just means from you go either to 2 or you go through the 0 to 9. When you start to split yourself, or if you would diversify yourself, you're going to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then again you will go through what we call the 0 or the portal or the 0 point state, which is your very beginning. So you see the cycle is going from 0 to 0, and different points of view or experiences you are making can be traced as in the unique numbers from 1 to 9. I showed you a couple of weeks ago, maybe 1 or 2 months, this chart here, where there we have one totality as this pyramid shape, or we have the many ones as a totality in the shape of the pyramid. Even in parts of it, you can see many pyramids in here, or as a totality in a big pyramid. So you see that number 0 is the change. And what if the change is constant? It is in the forest, it is in the ocean, it is even in the desert. So maybe the change is constantly also within all of us. So how can we understand ourselves more in the detail that we can actually reach ourselves in this 0 point, or in the totality that you are created and creating all the time? I want you literally to see like a big 0, or like you can put it like a black hole, and now you throw the numbers in there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it repeats the cycle again. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can also go backwards. So it's either left or right turn from top to bottom, or bottom to top. The number 9 is the resolution, the big picture that we had with the last session. When we are in the cloud condition, we are united with ourselves, with our sames, with the like. We are condensed into a conscious collective state. So now when we go through the change, through falling, can we rebuild ourselves when we are back on the floor, on the soil? Would it mean that we organize the droplets, all that fall into the forest, by a phone call, or do we attract them gravitationally? Do we build like a small pond? Or is there so much of us, so many, that we can build even a stream, like a small river? Or is everything completely wet, that we are covering the whole scene? So now I want you to see the top, number 1 on this scale, as you with your body. So whenever you are achieving the Sandman state, which it's hard to see or to say where it is deep enough, but every one of us who was playing or experimenting with the relaxation and becoming basically the beach through the breathing techniques and the relaxation, would basically understand what it means here to be one that falls into many ones. So here on the top you are that human, and then when you become the Sandman, or that one out of many of small sand particles, you basically become a bigger picture the further down you go. Now this one here would be already the soul in this box of physicality, or the first cell that came together. You can see it as two are coming together to create the one on top, or you can see that the two are coming together to replicate themselves and create a new one in between them, which is another reflection of that one that we see on the top. So if the zero is everywhere around us, on the top and on the floor, it is like a circling ring, like a circulation, and along this you are manifested with your body. Here we have the earth, and here let's call it your head. And maybe this, I'm sorry, this was the other way, like heaven here. And so now, since we integrate that is, it will make yourself as part of it, as it, in it. Maybe we go a bit more practical in this. So if we have the one soul in the middle of the brain, you will have to do the two brain sides, the left and the right. These two together and the soul are actually already like three. So now it's you to see if it's the first one on the top and then the two on below, or if the two brain sides are already creating the number three, like the what I call the family system. So basically they are replicating what they are 50-50, and they're recreating itself anew, but at the same level. So nobody loses anything because it is seen as the same. So when you have your family in the head already, then number 4 will be the heart. So the next level of manifestation. Maybe let's draw that again. So we have two brain sides, and then we have like the soul in between. The next mirror or fractalization that you have seen with the ones is then the heart. Or the second soul. And from there it goes into many different splits or ways of creation, and they are all coming back from your hands or from your senses, everything goes either through here or here. Who comes first? You know first. And this totality of the 1 to 5 is moving by 6 or by emotions. Energy that is going or moving, motion. And if this can be done in a harmonious way, we achieve a state of maybe happiness, health, balance, harmony. And if this again makes all sense and can be done endlessly or can be remained in the state like infinitely, turns to number 8, or like the infinity. And this again as a totality then is going all the time through the number 9, like change. So now you can see that the change is here around, here around, here around. It's literally everywhere here. And that makes you grow, or basically getting smaller again. Now to put this into perspective, to finally get a hold on or to understand what I would like to share with you tonight about the regeneration. So from one drop that is pure or blueprinted original, through the life, it maybe just changes color. Maybe it becomes like this or like that. So how can we know which is the blueprint that is our original state? And when can we see which it is not? Because to keep yourself running would mean that you create the same and again, maybe in different sizes, but the quality and the structure always remains the same. So you are expressing yourself from your 0 point. So you're giving like a wave into your existence. And you also collect that wave back again. So anytime you basically have pitches here or squares here or something that is not your blueprint or your original state, you might be not yourself. When we draw it even easier or simpler, we have here the bubble. Now here we have the matter state. And here we have, I call it the plasma state. You're giving out and you're receiving in all the time. So what you put in from what seems to be outside is just a different way of looking at things. Whatever you put inside of yourself, when you are totally aware, you will immediately feel or know what is happening to you. Next time before you eat or consume something, I would like you to become aware, maybe just in the moment you have that thought of going to do or to have or to do something, maybe your body is already giving you a feedback. Maybe you have suddenly that thought that reminds you to do otherwise. So we are in this bubble, and then we have the manifestation inside, or you can say the incarnation, the meat is inside. And now I want you to imagine that everything that you give out is creating this bubble. Let's call it on one side the bubble, and on the other side the field. If you look at it like on a flat way, it would look like this. If you need to see it in a spherical way, it might look like this. And maybe it's something like the combination of the two. So from the field state we integrate, and then it gets you out of it. When you are in the plasmatic connection that you can feel or sense or receive the feedback of the bubble, this will be the extension of that droplet we are talking about, and yet it is not seen. And maybe it's time for the contribution of our today's animal to give you a little hint how to make the connection all together. You could see it here already. Or you can see it right here. Most likely one of your many favorite animals of I guess especially the female. But let's see what the spider can contribute to basically feel the field, what it is creating by itself all the time, and it knows the structure and it knows the setup and everything, and then it also goes back into the center. Spider, weaving webs of delight, weave me a peaceful world, carrying creation in your web, waiting to be unfurled. Spider is number 43 and is a specialist in weaving. So the creating through the weaving like a net or like clothes systems. Spider wove the web that brought humans the first picture of the alphabet. The letters were part of the angles of her web. Dear asked Spider what she was weaving and why all the lines looked like symbols. Spider replied, "Why, dear, it is time for Earth's children to learn to make records of their progress in their Earthwalk." Dear answered Spider, "But they already have pictures that show you through symbols the stories of their experiences." "Yes," Spider said, "but Earth's children are growing more complex, and their future generations will need to know more. The ones to come won't remember how to read the petroglyphs." So it was the spider wove the first primordial alphabet, as she had woven the dream of the world that had become manifest. Spider's dream of the physical world had come to fruition millions of years before. Spider's body is made like the number 8, consisting of 2 lobe-like parts, connected as the waist and the 8 legs. Spider is the symbol for the infinite possibilities of creation. Her 8 legs represent the 4 winds of change and the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. Spider weaves the webs of fate for those who get caught in her web and become her dinner. This is similar to humans who get caught in the web of illusions in the physical world and never see beyond the horizon into the other dimensions. The web of fate also represents a wheel of life which does not include any alternatives or solutions. It is typically human to get caught in the polarity of good or bad fortune without realizing that we can change it at any time. If we are not decisive enough about changing our lots in life, we may end up being consumed by our own fears and limitations. Spider is the female energy of the creative force that weaves the beautiful design of life. Her web has hundreds of intricate patterns which catch the morning dew. So maybe some of us as droplets got also now quite a soft landing in a web. So the spider might be telling us to create, and create. Look for alternatives to your present impasse. She can also be warning you that you are coming too close to an entangling situation. Spider could be asking you to use a journal to write out and review your progress. If you do this, you will not forget how you are creating a new or different phase in your life. Spider brings a message of a different kind when she sees you becoming a bit too involved in the weaving of your life plans to notice opportunity at the outskirts of your web. If this is the case, Spider gets your attention so that you notice that something you would have woven has borne fruit. Congratulations! Spider caught you just in time before you missed the opportunity on the edge of your web or reality. The most important message from Spider is that you are an infinite being who will continue to weave the patterns of life and living throughout time. Do not fail to see the expansiveness of the eternal plan. we're going back to the woods just for a short period. See if you can see any spiders around. So to choose a different approach to make you more close to the regenerative process, I would like you to turn your awareness to yourself. And literally in this moment, I would like to show you a reflection of what I call the best day. In here, I would like you to see or to understand the structure that I, for my example, set up for myself to basically become aware of how I do spend my time with. So if there is a day that you could choose or name your best day ever, like the Carpe Diem, so you enjoy the day on a daily basis, or if it's just the perfect day for you that you could draw, create, manifest, I would like to give you some maybe intentions or a vision or two to see how you could do your best as and for yourself first. So through the reflection of what we are doing in a 24 window hour based mindset that is repeating itself over and over again, it might have different lines or time frames for you, but now I want you to really just create the day that you have in your mind or in your dream that brings you to the fully enjoyment of you as your existence. So for example, let me go how I do this in my way. If it is possible for me to basically wake up in the early morning, usually that is the time where it is most peaceful. So what it is called meditation or achieving or going to the silence, this is what I would start the day with. Usually in that first reflection of what happened in the night brings some dreams back. It can make you remember what you just experienced. So bringing the house intact or into stillness for you to receive maybe some after vision, after noise, some insights. And it also helps to memorize those experiences from the sleep or dream state. The next hour is how I unify myself, not from when we have the number, the first at 6 o'clock. This is more like you are the empty state. So you try not to choose, you just see what comes in. In the next step, it is that for myself, and I will lead you to this by the end of the second cycle, or let's say in the next 8 sessions latest, I would like you to understand what it means to build your own formation. What I call here the spirit call standing means that I'm not sitting or not lying on the floor. I'm just really standing, and then I basically unify the different parts within. We will come to that a bit in a later session. At 8 o'clock, there is what I call the body tube or vibroplate. It is the body tube is a GANS setup. It's like it very looks like the vertical device that Mr. Kesh is promoting, but it's on a very basic level. So it's just a couple of tubes like rings, and you can stand into, let's say that it's like a hollow tree, like a hollow stem, and you basically stand in this field of CO2, copper oxide, and zinc oxide. So actually I had to change this, and this is not working at the moment. But if you have like your cups or your GANS production sites, try to build the field, if you like, and stand in it to basically connect here on a more matter state level. So from this warm up, from basically from the spirit world to come into the body, the calisthenics program is one of the oldest physical exercise version that you just do by yourselves and with yourself. So there is barely tools or support for you to do the exercises, and you basically have only the heavy or the gravity of yourself that is giving you all the work. So you can look it up. It's calisthenics, and it is the last time it was famous was in the prison environment, because when you have a long time sentence, there is not much to do, and for yourselves, what is at your disposal, and your body is always. So if there is a longer period of training, talking years here for the most or the many, these are the people that can basically lift or stand on one hand. It's literally defying gravity, if you like, at least in the vision. We will do like a practical dive into these 5 or 6 exercises, and I will share with you the next couple of sessions. What we already talked about is the breathing techniques and the cold shower. I think I mentioned that before. So to basically do something like the Sandman, going deep into the inhalation, and then we have the cold shower as the confrontation that you do with your body, depending on your oxidation level in your system. So here it is to understand that the warm and the cold water is basically always water. It is just you being in a better or in a worse mood depending on the temperature. And this helps you to achieve or to basically approach this duality in a more unifying way. So that is why it is here going into the emotion. At 11, I would eat or relax after the first part of basically self-activating, becoming self-aware, let's say call it landing on that planet, coming back home. And so literally this grounding, if you have to eat matter, then do it in a short window, or just relax and breathe and replenish from what you have done before. The next window basically would be what I call on the very right side, the goal to manifest what you wish to manifest or what you are here to do. And I put it in like 3 hours of work and 3 hours of socializing. We are always giving and sharing or exchanging with everyone and anything. So this could be in a mixed up version, and yet it is always when you basically interact with the environment or with the collective and put your work in. So this is here where you can basically apply yourself. Then at 6, there is another short window of eating or relaxation, because it's a contrast program. After you were doing just with yourself or as yourself, you're going out into the open and basically share and collaborate. So coming back home in the matter state after a short relaxation window, basically to go back into the stillness and visualize your existence. Depending on how we are connected to the state of being of yourself or to the state of the world or whatever gives you the impression of unrest, visualization here is more difficult. Basically, it's like a awake state of dreaming, like a pre-sleep phase. That's in the best way for myself to basically let go of the physicality, and you're painting in your mind. In the best case, it is at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock latest where I call it a day, and so we basically have maximum of 9 hours of sleep if that is needed, and the less sleep you need, the more you can extend every other level of application of yourself in reality. But don't forget that as we have now a couple of months already in, that we have these dream experiences, be it in the space flight unit or in the enhancement unit, be it you at any situation in your life or on a regular basis. Sometimes we have these dream states during the night. So to become aware when it is for you to basically be in bed or go to sleep, this can vary as well everything else, but I just wanted to give you like an impression of how you could basically you can do this for free. Nobody can hold you to do otherwise, but basically know what is from your guts basically saying what you should do. How do you comprehend, and what are you actually containing in your day and in your night? So this is what I call the mirror one, or the structure that is maybe very fantastic or far off from a let's say standard point of view, if that exists, but yet if there is if there is nothing to do or if you don't have work, you can still do everything with your body and with your mind and with your soul at any given time. So the more you basically discover or know yourself from how you treat yourself and how you feel yourself, you will be able to basically send that out in a positive way. So if you don't have enough sleep, if you don't have that work, and if you don't look to your existence, if you don't treat yourself the way you like, it is much more likely that you will basically give out that feeling of lack, that it's not enough yet and there is still something to do or to get. And so from the very point of the beginning of how we can transmute from one drop into another or from one bubble into another, we need to know that there are like 3 very gravitating energies, and there are 3 that basically giving you the possibility to at least contain and even further to share or give away. So the 3 gravity key issues or situations we have in our daily life, it doesn't mean that it is you, but it might come across you or in your environment that someone is very greedy or craving or thirsty for something. So a very need, in a need as especially like too much as a greed. So you basically you can't share it with with other life forms or other people. So when there is greed. The second one is if there is fear of something. So this also keeps you like in a locked state when you are afraid of something. And the third one that is basically keeping you in check in the state that you are is when you try to basically escape or flight from a certain situation. So it's like, call it the greed, or that is too much wanting, the fear of something, and the, as we say, fight or flight mode. So if you want to basically go out, so if you're in this bubble and you can't go anywhere because you integrate the manifestation into yourself, you deny yourself of so many capabilities and possibilities of your own power. So the more in a positive way, seeing and also receiving is when you can be giving. So giving what you have or what you can share. This is especially in these days not specifically to the matter related, but also for the support and maybe just the peaceful understanding, and to basically be there for others even if you don't know how and why. Another point would be like teaching, and it doesn't need to be just like for everyone who has something on YouTube, but we are teaching constantly. So we usually forget that even when we are in a small child state, when we have someone that is 1, 2, 3 years younger, usually they look already up to us. So now take this as an example, and this looking up from the younger to the older, this is usually what happens through the whole life. So, and therefore when you are in the situation where there are younger people, children especially, around you, then it is most key that you have some sort of responsibility, that you know what you're doing. So because you are basically showing them how you do it and how the grown-ups are doing it, and therefore any false or bad treatment of the environment yourself will influence the mindset even on an unconditional or in an unconscious way. It's just the environment that speaks. So your deeds or your doings are speaking louder than the words. So after giving, teaching, there is the third one, the part that we call apply love, or if you are loving. In these three states, you actually can't lose, and you're acting or you're doing in the magnetical sense of speaking. So giving, teaching, or loving in the magnetical way, and the greed, the fear, and the escape, to want to escape from something, that will hold yourself in check. So maybe this is an invitation for some of you, many of you, all of you, to put yourself on like a time frame like this, and put your conscious, your desires, your wishes, your dream, put it on a paper and try to create your best day. And if you have it, maybe we can share and discuss it on another session. Yet just try to reflect how much you are off track of yourself. If you can still remember and see that you are in the forest, or if you don't see the forest, not anymore because there are too many trees. After we have seen now a lot of structure, I would like you to guide you once more a bit closer to yourself when we go back to the drawing board. So we have seen the different numbers before, and I would like now to emphasize the number 8, or the spider, or infinity, call it like you wish. But if I draw it like that, it looks like it is balanced, more or less. So it is same left and right. So I would like to remain in this easy drawing, and everyone understands that if we have here left and here we have right, or vice versa, that we have here balance, here the same, but this is unbalanced. So that what I want to show you in here is a bit hidden, but we will see it very soon. So either way, you can have the polarization either on the left side or on the right side. You could even drop it like this or like that. It just means that it's not balanced, or it is not equal. So maybe some of you might already see that there is some resemblance from some drawings before. So maybe the the soul is here, and then you have like a matter reflection of that soul state. So let's say the soul here in the middle is part of the field that is everywhere, and then it turns itself into two, that it's not what it is, but it's totally the opposite. So which means if we have here like the non-matter state, then we have the two sides which are closer to our matter state, like maybe we call it even plasma. So you see now, if this is literally your head, and if this is balanced, the body below will be balanced as well, because you have the mirror here, and we again have here the tree that goes up and the root system that goes down. So as above, so below. Now what happens if you have like the unbalanced situation like this? Either you gravitate too much here and not enough here, or you're giving too much here and not enough here. From a building standpoint of view, if we want to replicate a shape, we all know from basic school, and if you want to have drawn a circle, always have the same key instruments, or how you say, you have this what we call radius, and then we have basically that point that gets multiplied in the line around it. So the connection to the center is that radius that is in so many ways replicated to basically create that bubble, and it doesn't need to be shown all the time, because it just means it is holding itself in place through taking and giving. So you're giving here from the soul to your bubble, and from the bubble to your soul. So this here is the same, and it makes much more sense if I draw it like this. If you have like a donut shape, so basically the line 8 is the same like this, and so it goes out and it comes back in. And this can go in many ways, fields, depending on what you are looking for or how you perceive, how you connect. What I would like to emphasize here is, if you can see yourself here as in a balanced state, if this is, let's say, call it like stable for a moment, this can be much more easier mirrored. So when you have peace in your, basically in your head or in your mind or in your soul, then it's much easier to basically copy paste that state. If you have a constant changing, like a tornado, if you want to copy a tornado, it will be quite likely different or not looking the same. So, and one is magnetical and one is gravitational. And if we draw that again, you have your center point, then you're giving, and you're receiving again. And to what extent? To yourself, as in the bubble, or to your core, which is in the center. So you're receiving what you're giving out. And even if it doesn't look like this, when you try to see yourself as, or basically reflect yourself, are we balanced, or are we basically synchronized in a giving and receiving state of harmony? So you're not lacking, but you also can give away and you're getting back. And if you apply this basically first for yourself and foremost with the breathing, then you know what is needed to be done to return into that balanced state. Balance means that there is no difference between here and here. So you have the connection in every direction. You basically become the spider that is alert or gets the information if it's coming from here, or if it's coming from here, or from anywhere in the net. But it will all come down into the center and you will know. So now maybe some of you have seen already, if we change the color and put the soul here again, and we make it white, because it looks a bit like a cloud, the two brains of you. So now you have this structure that goes, and you can fully use your potential. It also means that you don't block yourself. So whatever input you might find or have in between, maybe here or here, you need to put that back into the cycle and recycle it, literally. So you have to deconstruct and then rebuild the same cell, or the cell that is basically not there, because every specific is again like something that is gravitating to you. So the more empty you can be, the more beautiful you can do this drawing in an abstract way, if you like, of yourself. Here you have your aura, and here you have your soul. So you have the innerst extremity and the outerst, so the inside and the outside. So you see, when you are in balance, basically then you know, or then you are in your middle. Same direction in every way. And from there on, if you want to replicate, let's draw it again. Now we want to replicate in 1, 2, or many more rings. You are still connected through the knowing of the spider. So when you are here in the center, you're always connected. And depending on how you look at it, don't see the net. Depending on how you look at it in the perspective or in the light, because it's very, very thin, that net of the spider. So try to look it from a sideways perspective. So being in your center means you are able to express yourself in all directions, and you can keep up the shape. Or you can go smaller. So you're literally in the possibility to either expand or to compress. Or let's say give and receive. Or be content that this here in the center is the potentiality of every one of us to recreate either the dot itself, or if we zoom into the dot and see that it's actually a ring with another dot, and if we zoom in more, we will find it's a never-ending story. Okay, if we blow up the center, which would be totally yellow in this, and then we have one ring. Let's make it like this, much more practical. Inside here, you will experience time and space. Everywhere around this bubble is the opposite. So no time, no space. So when you hear that you're dreaming your existence into reality, it's the same like you are in the dream state in the night. I can just speak for myself, but I don't recall the moment when I was watching my wristwatch or some sort of clock in a dream, because time is irrelevant in the dream state. Usually I'm not asking where did I go and why did I go especially there, because space doesn't matter. So here we have infinite possibilities, and usually we have here just one, like a constant one or like a temporal one, because it is depending on time and it needs some what we call space. So here are the many, one, and here is just the one. So when you remember the exercise, these are your hands, more or less. Mr. Cash showed us this this trick, or this it's not an exercise, it's like an experiment. So you hold your hands together, and I think we did that also someone before. So can you create the light between your hands? Do you see the hands are literally the circle or the environment, or two halves, literally the extensions of your brain? These are your hands. So if you can copy paste that which is between your brain, the very center, and put it again, you are a big drop. Now you make a very small one between your hands. Maybe it's easier to do with water, but we know that the water is this or that. And so can you bring this here? Would it mean that you leave your body with the soul, or in a, speaking of a spider conception, you would literally connect and extend from your soul through the giving, your core, to the same environment but different. So maybe now you have a different way of looking at this web. So there are lines and there are crossings, but you and the web are the same, which means you are one and two at the same time. And if you have just one spark in between your hands, could you make it lead to make two brains, to create a heart, and so on? There must be some fun anyways in all the existence, because if we follow through the relaxation of the body, or especially if we have a lucid dream, we discover that even we thought we are one, there is one more, so it's one plus another one. And so if this is going infinitely in both directions, so then maybe we get a glimpse into what the creation is capable, or what is actually happening. So it's hard to tell where the end is or where the beginning is. And yet your hands show definitely that there is like the nothingness in between when you look with your physical eye, and if you look with your other eye or with your soul, you will see that there is always one more. So when we go back here, maybe add some color for clarification. So this could be the bubble. It could be the planet. Maybe it's both together. Maybe there is something in the middle. And then we have like a plus and a minus. And if we have a hand, one side looks like this, and on the other side it looks like opposite. This is what we rediscover when we create, or we are making GANs. We need this polarity of the plus and the minus. And it's sometimes not so easy to put it into words what I would like to share with you, because words are not enough, or basically it's not very fair just to put it in words, because the application of the knowledge and I don't like to call it work, but it needs to be in a resilient, I like to call it like a stance. So it's a momentary shape or containment of your totality. The more you are basically allowing yourself to be, there is nothing that holds you back within the bubble. And so if we go one step further, I hope this is not going too much crazy. You might have come across the term of a projector, that we are basically are always in front of a mirror. So if this bubble is a mirror, it needs you, like a cinema projector, to basically, or maybe on a whole scale, to resonate out, to send out, basically just to be. And so everything that is happening, as we have seen before, it is going out and it's coming back. So maybe this leads us to understand that we are all creating that scene. So the inside leads to an outside. And it's going continuously inside and outside, relentlessly. So therefore the change is what we are sending out as what we dream to experience. Which would imply that everything that we are, let's say we see a tree. The tree would look like this. It would be just a reflection on that. If we see an animal, it would be also a reflection. So whatever you see, like a star, a planet, in whatever shape it comes or might come, nothing is externally. It is literally built up in this bubble. And whatever you have inside of yourself, you will put it out. Maybe that's why education is so important. But if you look a bit closer, what education means, this is coming from the Latin. It means ex ducere. Ducere means out and basically guiding. So it's a guidance outside of yourself. I think the school system on a global scale has a very hard time. So if the intention was to basically bring yourself or get everyone out of themselves and get them attached there, it means you're holding dearly on whatever you possess, be it the body or a house or a relationship. Everything that seems to be tangible, you're holding dearly. Maybe it leads to a big brain or big head that you're touching the sky and you might know everything. But it literally means that you need to have control, because you need to secure your borders. So the more walls you build, you literally build more solid structure in yourself. Not sure if that is a good ingredient for something that is in the most natural state, in a flow state. So like the spider that is connected through the vibration, that's enough already. It's even easier to act and move into specific directions when there is need to do. Yet when the human is basically so attached to itself, the matter state, then it's this and only that holds dearest. And so whatever is in the outside, even you can't reach it, but you think you need to control it. So here now to disconnect, make yourself small again. To detach or to let go. There are so many words. This and this only brings you to that point that never changes, the center. It's hard to locate a point that is not matter state, but when you can basically let go of the field of matter state and see what comes next, you will automatically be guided there. And don't forget this connection to the net or to your aura. It's always there. It's just in a different state. It's in the plasmatic state. So we could say the closer you go into the center, the more dense it becomes, until it literally becomes that ring, and then it has to be everything but dense, because then it's not matter related anymore. So, and after this dense shape of your body here, you also have the field that is part of you and that is part of everything that connects you to the field state. So look at it at like this. If you have been in schools for so many years and you might have lost your track, try to basically get back home by going backwards in what you have might taken the wrong direction or the wrong exit on the track. Which means that you should not think, that you should not create, that you should basically just be without doing anything yourself. Usually I try to show that in a small circle with that point. And then you will see if you are in a balanced state or if there is something missing. Or if you're exhausted because you give so much and somehow you don't see the progress because you're still focusing on the matter state. The giving and the receiving is always happening in the plasmatic way. The physical you is again to choose every time anew of what has to be done or is to be done. And I picked up a very joyful line in a couple of days past. If you see a job, it is yours. I think this resembles quite a beautiful way of how to look at things, as if you can improve or whatever, bring to peace or collect or rebuild whatever seems to be broken in your way of how you perceive the reality, then you don't have to politicize or talk about it, just do it. And if nobody sees it, we might get the intention that maybe people are becoming blind or they don't see what is in the obvious. So now, depending on from which side you're coming, maybe you can already see the aura of people or of entities. And maybe you can't see because you have too many demandings of how you would like to perceive the others. So when we don't see, we block ourselves usually by our own doings. And if you have come aware of that already, or if not, maybe now is the time. The first thing that we lost track of balance is the breathing. Maybe now you ask yourself, well, what's wrong with my breathing? There is not much wrong with your breathing, but maybe it's not in that way that you are intended to breathe. It takes so little that we basically change the heart rate, be it through whatever is coming into your life. But usually the emotions then bring us into a state of changed by behavior, and you can just observe yourself how relaxed and how freely you are connected to the plasmatic state with the breath. It might not mean anything to a lot of people because you can't see it, because you can't buy stuff with it, but basically you are keeping yourself running with the breath. So this intent connection to the atmospheric level has already its purpose. There is not that much that you are to question about, because if you look around, it's not only you that are breathing, everyone breathes some way or another, even the plants. So now when you can follow me into that last step of how you can rebuild yourself or how you can regenerate, if you have those many cells inside of you, in the moment you feel yourself connected, it means that you are totally aware. Let's say we should draw it like that. So either below or maybe slight above the surface, you have that net of connectivity. You are connected with your soul to every single cell in your body. In the moment you can achieve the way how we do it, or how I do it, is it with the Sandman breathing. So in the moment you cross your ankles and your arms, it gives you a feeling of you're just like a bubble. So when you can't decide if it's left or right, or if it's right and left, because those parts from one side are intersecting into they're overlapping into the other dimension, if you will. So then when you don't have to choose, because you're just fine having it or the fusion of the both, you might feel this container, or this field, or this shape. It's again, the words are not matching the being. So the moment that you are in the total connectivity to whatever it is that you are, and you will feel something that is too dense, or that is basically too solid, it will pop up on your screen of awareness wherever it is in your body. Usually, when you do this with the breathing, you will see that the air or the oxygen or whatever it is that brings the energy to all different regions in your body, it will be like hold up or blocked to that area. Which means those areas, they will turn up in one way or another that you become aware of. Either it is pain or it is just like this dense feeling in a certain region of your body. Now, the whole thing that I would like you to do is that to understand that when you are here, one, or the totality, in the same way, you see again, or you find out that those red dots are not in your original blueprint. So the way to go, or the way how I use this technique, is literally to become balanced on the oxygen level, which means through the breathing you will lose every thought and every irritation that brings you out of yourself, because you're focused inside now. So usually we look out, and now we look in. And this could be from any point of view, but the point is that you go to the center, wherever you are at that moment, and from there you reconnect like the spider again. So you build up like a structure, like a formation, call it rays of love, that you welcome everyone, everything right now, the here and now, as it is. Which means you will connect consciously with your mindset, and unconsciously through the breathing, to the totality of your body. You can even use your hands to basically integrate this here. If this oneness is the whole you can integrate that again into another level of understanding, and which means just one level deeper inside. So which means you bring those irritation points closer to your awareness, and usually we already know what went wrong, or what we are doing wrong, or how we treat ourselves wrong, or if someone is treating them or herself or himself maybe unconsciously or just not the proper way. But how you connect, or how you can basically bring out those blockages or those residues in your body, is how you basically flood the system with the oxygen, and then you're sending. Okay, so you have the oxygen, which is coming from the plasma, or we call it the matter. So this gets flooded everywhere. We have here the oxygen. And now we just need, you know it already, the two H's, and maybe It comes from the core, from the soul. But this connection, again, as an unconditional love, so you're radiating out in the many ways you can apply or imagine to yourself how you would treat someone in your society, inside of your body or in your existence, that is basically not in alignment with that oneness that you are manifesting. Okay, let's put it easy on a first. Go or do what we learned with the Sandman. In the moment you are one, you are also the totality. And if this totality is basically full of itself but empty of everything else, it basically can switch between the full or the empty state. So either you have that one integrated or you don't. If you have, then you will go here. If you don't, you will stay here. Now, if you choose or basically want to feel again like the beauty of the existence without any blockage or sickness or whatever you call it that irritates your existence, it would mean that you have to split that which is not part of yourself but has become part of yourself, or you dissolve it into the totality. And that's exactly what we do. So you will carry the light inside of yourself, and the connection with the oxygen you know how to do with the breathing. And the more of the oxygen you will breathe in, the more you will connect to the light. It's just as simple as that. So in the moment that you might have dark places inside of yourself, you literally can make them one. Through the Sandman. So here we have many, and here we have one. Here we have two. So in the moment you are feeling well, if you feel good, if you feel healthy, nobody can bring you into another comprehension or feeling of yourself. You know yourself best. Never let yourself be told otherwise. So to basically recreate the water or the light and the oxygen combination in yourself is like the base ingredients for your many to be cooked or to be made. And because we know that everything coming from the oxygen level as plasma, or in that state of size or dimension, you are creating that connection to the different states of field, or to that one field, if you will. So go easy. Try to be one. And if you want to go many, it means integrate what seems to be around you inside of yourself and put it in a correct way together. So letting go of something or to grow is, in my perception, the same thing. The more you allow yourself to be yourself, it means you don't restrict or limit yourself of any growth. And if you are able to take yourself not too much seriously, if you can easily detach on the many levels of attachments, you become easier a peaceful or a whole unit of yourself. So the unit as a united collective self organism. So here we would have the body level, and here we would have the field level. So to regenerate yourself means to basically create water through the breathing. And the longer you do this, the more you will get confident in what you're doing. If you can, try to go from now on 2 hours into the Sandman experience. Maybe more. I hope you can follow me with this. So in the moment you become the Sandman or the Sand Girl, Sand Woman, how you want to call it, you basically allow yourself to fall into pieces, in so many pieces. Exactly like here. That one idea of what you are, you let it go, and then you become many ones. And you don't care if you're part of the heart, part of the liver, part of the lungs. You're just part of the totality of the same ones. So after you have lost yourself in the field, or basically allowed yourself to open up, the breathing is that which connects you from the one entity to the many entities, which is exactly like we see the beginning, or where we have seen in the beginning with the forest. So next time when you go into the forest or into the woods, uh, especially then, I would like you to become aware of the winds that are blowing through the leaves and through the trees, and see if you have to distinguish between what we call wind and plasma, or maybe it's already the same. When you are in the sun, you feel the connection, how you make water. By giving. And when you combine those two together, you should be able to transform or transmute yourself, which means you're resetting yourself back to the original blueprint of yours. It's not far away, it's very close. And yet, because it is so subtle, we often don't recognize it for what it is. The abundance that is all around us and therefore also within us. So to remind you how we can connect, I would like you to show you a couple of more examples of the little helpers we had today. I'm very well aware of that there are more friendly or not poisonous spiders, but there are also some harmful ones. Yet for today or for tonight, we just observe some of them, and may they remind us of how we can be connected within ourselves by just doing what we are able to do to connect ourselves to the field. So with a more peaceful look out or look in, I think I'm at the end for today with my input, and I would like you to share, and maybe if you have a question, I would like to open the room now for that part of the session. If anyone would like to contribute, to share anything, maybe there's a question out in the open. You can bring that now. So it's for everyone. It's clear how you can basically rebuild yourself. Did I bring that on point? It sounds maybe a bit fantastic, but you just need to apply yourself to yourself, and from there, maybe not even for me, it's to see or to say what you're capable of, and yet we deny ourselves so much from just not doing what is literally in front of our nose or in our hands. So there are so many ways, and yet through the no way, basically become still and connect to the feel, to the breathing. This will be at least one way of how you can bring yourself on track. The other way would be that you go to Linz and that you would experience the flight enhancement unit, or the space flight unit, or the enhancement unit, which I'm not sure if I have already shared, but I don't think so. So if anyone would like to hear, it's it was a bit different for me to. So I will not bring you those stories from maybe other participants. It took a while for also for me to so usually we easily get some expectations or some let's say a wish, or whatever it is that you connect with something that you haven't done before. It's either you get exactly what you wish for, or you get the opposite of that, or you get a mix of both. So it was not that straight line of experience that I had, and it opened my eyes and confirmed in many ways the situation that brought me actually in the beginning to the foundation, and until this very day, now to basically share with everyone interested or curious of what you're capable of doing, or basically being in this set of reality. So one very let's say strange thing that happened to me in the experience of Linz was I literally had almost no pulse. I felt like I have like 15 to 20 beats a minute, but there was nothing that was shaking or irritating me at all. It was just happening, and I was still sitting there, walking there. It was just like bringing me into another way of how I understand, or how I actually perceive myself. So on the left hand, the pulse was even lower, and on the right side, it was, let's say, more active or more vivid. So I never had that experience before, even though I know, or I wish that no, I know from the past that the calmer, or the lower your heart rate is, usually the more relaxed or the more healthy and basically you're not using your heart that much, so you're able to most probably maintain this creation of the heart even longer. So I was totally not expecting this this experience. So connected to that, it was basically not be able to feel it on my chest and don't feel and I was feeling the pulse in two different ways on my arms. So connected to that, what did I want to say now? Yeah, the first thing when I ate something after, it felt like it was a really long how you call it, the you know, the when you eat and you swallow it, it felt like the throat was just like miles long, kilometers long. So it was almost like I could watch or feel like the physicality is dropping into myself, but on a very slow rate. So it's like yeah, I would have like between my stomach and my mouth, it would be like a really big elevator. So that was on the physical level, let's say on the outer bubble sphere, and on the inside, for me to say, it was clearly to feel my soul. The only way to describe it is if you have a blanket. Maybe I can draw this. So if you have a blanket, let's draw it in the colors that we used to. So if this is the inside of my head, I clearly felt this. It's like a blanket, but it's like you look it from the side. If you look it from the front, so let's call it a string. And so this string was going into a little bit in this direction, a little bit in this direction. It was almost like if you feel a little bit of wind. So this is going like left and right, like a pendulum, and I could feel like the two brain sides that they were just there, like they were stable, but in the beginning, in the middle, this was like swinging back and forth, very very gentle, very small moving also, and it brings you into this topic of today, into the regeneration, very very quickly. As I tried to share with you before, the more you come into your center or into your, say, 0 point, or in that middle, the more balanced you get, and the easier it is to basically bring back into balance your whole system. Okay, I just see that we almost have 9 o'clock, and I need to make a phone call. I would like to add to this a bit further, and yet I'm not sure. Someone wrote again that there is also the Spanish community coming up after this. I have to go after in 10 minutes, so yeah, I think if there is nothing really urgent right now, I would like to come back to you next Monday, and maybe we can start with a more in-depth review of the Linz experience. And if you like to exercise a little bit on the Sandman exercise, I think no, Danilo already left, but he's continuously doing it, and he has some beautiful experiences so far. I think for today, that's what I can share with you, and so I'm grateful for having you tonight. I hope to bring you a bit closer to yourself and into your might or power, even it is on a very, very gentle and loving level that we are aiming for here. So without further ado, thank you very much for being with us here and now. We are looking forward to see you again, most probably in a week or earlier. I wish you a beautiful night and some sweet dreams. Thank you very much all for joining. Good night.
Thank you also. Good night.
Thank you very much.